Hey everybody, Jim Salmons here with Kayak Fishing Show live. Once again, apologize for that lousy opening. I mentioned it in our last show. We've run into a copyright issue with our theme song for some reason. I'm not really sure of the issue, and I'm trying to get a hold of the guy who did it for us. But we keep getting tagged with copyright issues. And if that keeps happening, then we can get banned from posting. So I just had to remove the music. So hopefully we can get that back. But anyway, thank you all for joining us. Of course, we're brought to you by all these wonderful sponsors scrolling across the bottom. Ballast Point Brewing Company, of course. Cigar Fishing Line NRS with the magic hat. Jackson Kayak, Warner Paddles, Standard Horizon. Siegler Reels, Yak Attack. Like I said, they've been all with us for a very long time and keep us going. This is the last show for a couple of weeks because I will be at ICAST next week. If any of you guys are going to ICAST, let me know. I'd love to meet you in person. But I will be at ICAST flying out there on Monday. And then that goes till Friday. And then after that, I am going fishing for a few days with my buddy Jameson. So I've never had a whole lot of luck fishing in Florida, but I haven't fished in such a long time because of my shoulder and back stuff that I don't care if I just go ride around on a boat. Even if I can't fish, I'm going to be happy just to be out on the water because it's been way too long. I actually saw the doctor about my shoulder today, and he basically gave me explicit instructions not to paddle a kayak for a little bit longer. So, yeah. Well, and Jameson is actually checking in. Hey, Jameson, I'll see you in a few days. Looking forward to actually getting on the NAR on the demo day. I'm going to be at the demo day and seeing what your new show's about. I'm not even sure. I knew you've got a new show airing soon. I saw something for it today, but I didn't actually see what the date was that it's airing. So wishing you luck with that. And my former producer. So anyway, Liam, thanks for checking in. Liam is watching on KayakFishingTales. If you are watching over there, I appreciate it. That's our YouTube channel. If you want to be notified of our shows more often, go over there and subscribe and hit for notifications because that way you're much more likely to be notified. Mitch, of course, is watching from up in Ontario. As always, thank you, sir. I really appreciate you guys that are regulars watching the show all the time. Sean Russell says, how's the shoulder doing? Yeah, I just addressed that. It's getting better. I mean, I've got really good physical therapists now. I'm really excited about that. I can lift my arm right up in there now, but there's no strength at all. And again, the doctor told me not to do any paddling for a little bit longer to really get the strength back. So, Jeff, how you doing from Texas? And I really appreciate you guys who tell us where you're watching from. I always like to know that. Charlie Bond in Elk River, Missouri. The smallies are biting. I'm not a freshwater guy. I'm not a bass guy, but smallies are fun. I love catching smallies. Josh says if you can use Rockbot, you get around copyright issues. I'm not really sure what that is, but I may be having to look into it. Like I said, the theme song for my show was written for my show, but it was all handled with my former producer, and so I don't know what has happened. I mean, I know the guy who did the song, so I'm gonna just I tried to reach out to him the other day. I haven't been able to reach him yet. But hopefully we can get it sorted out because it's got to be a lot better than that janky music I put on there just now. Gene, how are you? Thanks for joining us. And Gene, of course, is in North Florida. Gene, are we going to see you at ICAST? I still owe you that big hug. Gene is like, she's team mom for the Jackson kayak fishing team and the biggest supporter and the most awesome person. So I'm dying to meet Gene in person. So Anyway, today's episode is one of the throwback episodes that we do on Thursdays. This was back when I was with Ocean Kayak. My kayak fishing career started on an Ocean Kayak, and my two really good friends that are in this episode, one of which is Mark Olson, and Mark Olson was actually Ocean Kayak's very first rep. And I mean, he met Tim Niemeyer selling kayaks on the side of the street. And Mark at the time had a bike shop, and he brought kayaks into his bike shop, and then kind of took over as a rep and selling them around California for him. And he was with Ocean Kayak for a long, long time. He left Ocean Kayak a little bit after I did, but he was with him a very long time. I think he's with Native now. Actually, just talked to him yesterday. He took some pictures that he had got out on his old Ocean Kayak, and he had a couple of really nice halibut. So Gene says you're going to miss the hugs. So that means you're not going to go to ICAST. Come on, I'm coming all the way from California. You're already in Florida. You can go. Come on, Gene. So anyway, yeah, so this episode, now I've shot several episodes at Cedros Island. I've been there several times. The first time I ever went was actually with my buddy Mark, and this was well before we were shooting any shows or anything. We were exploring doing mothership trips with the Qualifier 105, which is a big sport boat down here. That it's a long range boat, and this was an 8-day trip. And for this particular trip, what they would do is they'd load, they call it their skiff trip, and they'd bring skiffs onto the boat, and then the anglers, a certain amount of anglers, would jump on the skiffs and fish around the island for Calico Bass and Yellowtail. It's really a Calico Bass type of trip, and then the other anglers would stay on the boat and go around and fish around the island for the pelagics that would be offshore a little bit. So they invited us to bring our kayaks, and it was weird because they literally just dropped us in our kayaks, and then the boat left. And this was really, I'd never been there exploring, and not just at Cedros, but at Bonitas, Natividad, several different places, and they would just drop us off and leave. And so it was really cool. It really felt like you were on a true adventure. So that was my first time at Cedros. The next time may have been this trip. And this was coming down with Cedros Outdoor Adventures when he had just started doing trips down there, or hadn't been doing it for very long at all. And he was basically using a small hotel that was on the island. Since then, of course, we've gone back there and shot another episode with him where he now has his own location right on the cliff overlooking the water. So you may have seen that episode because these things don't get aired in order. But his new place is absolutely amazing. Like I said, you just sit on the patio at night overlooking the water. It is such a cool place and a great operation. What they do is they pick you up in San Diego, and there's couple different ways you can do it. You can take a plane out of San Diego and fly down to the island. That's a little more expensive. They will pick you up in a van in San Diego and then drive you down to Ensenada, and then you jump on a plane and jump on the plane out to the island from there. The last time we did it, we actually drove down. And so we drove down halfway down the Baja Peninsula, and then he sent a boat into shore to come and get us. So like I said, I've been there a few times. Another time was a mothership trip above the Islander. The problem is with the Islander trip, it was only a 6-day trip, and the Islander is a fairly slow boat. So it takes a long time to get down there. So you spend a lot of time in the boat as opposed to as much time fishing around the island. The cool thing about Jose's deal at Cedros Outdoor Adventures is that you fly down there and you're fishing that afternoon. He has kayaks, some of which are basically were kayaks that I gave him. I basically traded him some kayaks for another trip, which he still owes me. But he does have kayaks, some Jackson kayaks. Or of course, his main operation is not kayak fishing. It is fishing out of pongas. So you would get up in the morning, go fish in the morning, and they give you a good lunch, and then come back in and you have a great meal. And like I said, you're overlooking the water, and just a great operation. Now, this photo that's up behind me, my green screen here, is one of the cool things about this island. I mean, it really feels like old California. Like I said, the Calico Bass fishing, you really have the opportunity of very, very big calicos, but also white sea bass, halibut. I think we got on the drive down trip, we got like a 50-pound halibut. The yellowtail fishing there is just insane. But the life, I mean, like, those are elephant seals on the beach behind me. So you're cruising along a beach with elephant seals right behind you. There are spots where there are seals and sea lions, and you're just paddling through just a mass of them. It's very prehistoric feeling, very volcanic. It's just awesome. It's very dry there. So they bring salt over from the salt flats on the mainland, and then they pile it up and dry it and ship it from the island because they get so little rain there. Of course, I'm there and it rained. That was on this trip. It was like, it never rains there, and I go there and it pours with rain. It's like, yes, I can bring rain to the driest place ever. So it's just what it is. But it is an amazing destination and great people. And if you like bass fishing, and this is saltwater bass, I mean, these calico bass are so much stronger than a largemouth. They're more like a smallmouth in how they kind of bulldog you, but you're catching them in very wild water, a lot of moving water. Boiler rocks is where I really like to fish for them, or around this heavy kelp, like you can see in that picture there. And they'll get all up in that, and they just really are good fighting fish. So super fun. Yes, send me to drought areas, except for San Diego. I can't seem to bring rain to my own house. Jeremy says, good day from South Mountain, Ontario. Thank you, Jeremy, for joining us. I'm sorry on this one because I have no idea what this says, and I don't have Translate watching it this way. So I will have to check and see what that says next time or later after this is over. This one is from Facebook user. It says, are you going to ICAST this year? I don't know who this is. So if you are watching, this means you're watching on the our Facebook group. If you're watching in the Facebook group, in the description of the broadcast, at the bottom of that description, there's something from StreamYard that says you need to give StreamYard permission to use your name. And if you do that, then I can see who I'm talking to. But the answer to your question is yes, I'm going to ICAST, and I will be there the entire show. I'm heading out there on Monday. I will be at the On the Water demo on Tuesday, probably hanging around Jackson Kayak, but also looking at stuff because I have no obligations to be there with anybody. But my friends are in Jackson Kayak, so I'll probably be hanging with them quite a bit. And yeah, so I will be at ICAST, and then every other day I will be spending time with Jackson Kayak. I'm sure I'll be spending time with Siegler Reels. And then I have meetings spread out through the show as well, meeting with sponsors and so on. So Gene says that is Dean Bowling Jr. Well, Dean, yes, I'm going to ICAST. And if you are too, I will see you there. So anyway, back to the episode. I'm going to bring it on now and make sure if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, I always appreciate the questions. I really appreciate when you guys share these things with your friends. It really means a lot, and it helps us immensely, because if you don't share them, and I've said this a million times, Facebook doesn't send out our videos to even 1%, not even 1% of our followers get notified of when we go live. So that's why I always ask you guys if you can share it for me, and that helps us out. Jesse's going to be at ICAST. We'll make sure we meet up for a beer or something, man. Beers at ICAST every day at 4:00. And Richard Weaver from Lake Mary, Florida. How you doing, man? Thanks for joining us. So with no further ado, let's add this to the stream and do it that way so it fills the screen. And again, this is from season 3. So, we did 13 seasons. So season 3. So a long time ago. Oh, but before I get it going, let's see what this is all about. Treasure trails. How many fish have you killed this year? Honestly, probably none. I have not fished at all. So I've had shoulder surgery and everything, so I have not been able to fish at all. So I don't know if you have an indictment against fishing or killing fish, but I plan on killing some soon because I love to eat fish. But right now, I honestly haven't killed any. So with no further ado, let's get this episode going. Again, this is Cedros Island from season 3 with my good buddies Mark Olson and Matt Moyer.
This week on the Kayak Fishing Show, I'm hooking up with some of my best friends, Matt Moyer and Mark Olson, a rep with Ocean Kayak. We're leaving San Diego and heading down to Ensenada, then jumping on a small plane for a short ride over to Cedros Island to get on some Yellowtail and my favorite, Calico Bass. The last time we came to Cedros, it was a 30-hour boat ride on a sport boat to get in 3 days of fishing. This time I have a nice hotel, a beach to launch from, and a half-hour plane ride. Boilers, bass, Yellowtail, what more could you want? Stick around. This is going to be awesome.
At the forefront of any sport, you inevitably find someone pushing the limits. While kayak fishing has been exploding in popularity, Jim Salmons has been doing just that.
Yeah, look at these. Nice.
From the seat of his Ocean Kayak, Jim challenges the world's top game fish and puts his kayak fishing skills to the ultimate test.
Never fought a kayak, have you, fish?
From freshwater to saltwater, Jim's mission is simple: to discover the best fishing destinations in the world and prove that anything is possible from a kayak.
That's a healthy fish. Oh, nice!
And the little one got away. Ocean Kayak's Kayak Fishing Show is brought to you in part by Ocean Kayak, makers of the Trident and Ultra series of fishing kayaks.
And of course, these are all our old sponsors.
Seagar.
Except for Seagar. Seagar's still one of our best sponsors.
Mustad. Mustad hooks stay sharper longer. Hook One kayak fishing gear.
And I don't think they even exist anymore.
To get out there and hook one. Scotty, the way to fish. And the Heliconia Press, cutting edge outdoors media. This week on Ocean Kayak's Kayak Fishing Show, Jim Salmons is taking a short trip from his hometown of San Diego to Cedros Island.
We're up at 3 a.m. Got to drive down across the border and jump on a plane to head over to the island. It's one of my favorite places. I've been there a few times. Incredible fishing. It's going to be a blast.
Joining Jim on the trip are old friend Matt Moyer and Mark Olson.
My name is Matt Moyer. I'm from San Diego, California, and I'm the executive chef at La Jolla Country Club. You know, I've been kayak fishing for about 15 years. Got into it and, met Jim. became really good buddies, and we've been going on adventures ever since.
Well, I guess I'm one of the lucky guys. I got invited by Jim Salmons, being a friend of his, known him through Ocean Kayak. I've been a sales rep with them for 20 years and watched this kayak fishing thing explode, and been able to work with great people like Jim Salmons and Matt Moyer over these years. And we became great friends. And anytime I get to tag or can tag along, I do.
Cedros is located far off the shore of Baja Mexico and is used as a hub for the sea salt trade. However, for tourists, the draw is really the incredible sport fishery, as the island is flush with yellowtail grouper, calico bass, and sheepshead.
Yellowtail are not a grouper.
It's not uncommon to see
They
3
are
or
a
4
jack.
big sport boats from San Diego a day pass by the island to load up their hold with plentiful yellowtail. 2 years ago, Jim took a 30-hour boat ride for 2 days of fishing. This time he's flying in style and getting in a full 3 days. After a short flight from Ensenada at the Mexico border, the guys have arrived. Time to set up their gear and get ready to hit the water. The calicos are calling.
Ourselves all squared away, and probably take an hour to rig up or so and get ourselves on the water.
Unwrapping the goods for a good time. Call us.
Jose started Cedros Outdoor Adventures in 2002 with more than just tourism in mind. His love of the island and its friendly, hardworking locals led him to start the company to help the local community diversify their economy and protect their natural resources.
The people of the island is really friendly. We are in the most remote part of Mexico, and besides, this is an island. So the people who live on the island is all family. They know each other for many, many years. They are all really friendly. And what we create on this island is the sense that you're a tourist, but you're also welcome to join their community.
When we come back, Matt, Mark, and Jim hit the water as the Calico calamity begins.
Ridiculous, dude. Like every fish is this size.
Jose Angel, the owner, and I have become pretty good friends, and he's quite possibly the most sarcastic person I've ever met, almost at my level. His sarcasm is epic.
Ocean Kayak's Kayak Fishing Show is brought to you in part by Ocean Kayak, makers of the Trident and Ultra series of fishing kayaks, and the Torque, which features a removable Minn Kota motor. Check them out at oceankayak.com. This week, Jim Salmons joins Matt Moyer and Mark Olson for a Cedros Island Outdoor Adventure. Just after they arrive on the island, their host Jose has them set up at local B&B, the Zanmar. They eat a quick breakfast, grab their gear, and head to the water to prep their kayaks.
Catch fish. Jose is actually our fearless leader, and he's gonna lead us towards whatever today brings, which is hopefully the 40-pound yellowtail.
The guys are geared up and ready to go. It's time to find the fish. Today they're focusing on Calico Bass on the shoreline.
Wanted to stay on the inside to avoid the wind, and the wind has basically died down, and we've been fishing these walls. Boy, he wanted it. Oh, he wanted it. That's a good Calico Bass, too. Oh, my goodness. That guy really wanted that bait. Calico Bass fishing doesn't get any better than it does at Cedros. This is my third time here, and I always dream about coming back, and we've done it on the boat before. This is such... I mean, I like the guys on the boats, and it's a cool trip because you spend a lot of time with everybody. But if you want a quick, just insane adventure that's just a couple hours from home when you fly down, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it.
Instant gratification. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I got a head full of worry and a gun full of lead. Head full of worry worry and a gun full of lead. Head full of worry and a gun full of lead. And a wallet full of blood. Devil's knocking
How many calicos did we get, Jim? Man, the Cedros is the mecca for fishing, man. If you want to catch yellowtail, you want to catch calico bass. I mean, the quality of the calico bass, like 3 pounds, easily, just hammering it in like 2 feet of water. It was awesome.
I'll be back soon, mama, don't you cry. Back soon, mama, don't you cry. Back soon, mama, don't you cry. No, it will take some tired worries of a bale of wire. Tired worries of a bale of wire.
Just had absolutely off the hook, ridiculous, incredible. I can't even give enough words for how insane the calico bass fishing has been. I mean, it's just been quantity, it's been quality. We've been just roping fish, throwing all kinds of different lures. Matt's been throwing spinner baits. I've been throwing surface stuff. And we've just been crushing it. I mean, absolutely incredible day. This week we're at Cedros Island fishing for calico bass.
So yeah, the like I said, the calico bass is why I like to go there, but the yellowtail and everything else is there as well, and you can get some really big ones. That music, by the way, was Brock Zeman, who does the theme song for my show. So heck, I might get hit with a copyright claim on this that song too. Hope not, but it's Brock Zeman. I try to give him credit, but I have no idea what this is going to say because the stuff I fish with now is so much different. But I know what if you can fish. Like I used to love fishing the magic swimmer, the soft magic swimmer, because you could fish that kelp and the boiler rocks and all that, and they fish completely weedless, and the calicos would just crush them. But guys will throw A-rigs and crankbaits and big slugs. The thing about a calico bass, it will hit a really big bait. So they are not afraid. I mean, they'll hit baits as big as them. They're very, very aggressive. So let's see what I have to say from 12 years ago.
My favorite fish to target and deep in the kelp. If I'm going to fish at Cedros, what else am I going to fish with but the Cedros? This is an Akuma Cedros 400 level line. Great little bait caster for lots of casts, lots of retrieve. I want a rod that I can just really power those fish out of the kelp. That's why I'm using the Cedros Coastal. This is the 801XH, extra heavy. So a lot of pulling power, not a whole lot of forgiveness in that tip. I'm going to rip these fish out of the kelp. Because I'm fishing in heavy kelp, a lot of weeds, I need to be able to cut through that kelp sometimes. I'm using 60-pound Seaguar cans and braid. And on top of that, it may seem like overkill for the size of the fish, but I'm using Seaguar 40-pound fluorocarbon. I need that because I got to pull these fish out of the heavy structure. I'm throwing my lures way up into the kelp. I need something I can fish weedless. I'm using a Sebile Magic Swimmer Soft. This thing has incredible action. The hook is buried. It's hidden. It's going to get a lot of action without snagging in the kelp. This is my preferred calico bass setup at Cedros Island. Check it out.
Now
For
we've been
more
throwing
tips
more
and your
of the
chance to win a fantastic
dart
kayak
spin,
fishing package that includes an ocean
which
kayak,
also is
Trident
by Patrick
fishing
Sebile
kayak,
and
ex officio
weedless.
clothing, visit
You can fish it super
kayakfishingshow.com.
slow. You can fish it fast. It's
A long
kind of
day
become
comes
my
to a
go-to
close.
lure.
The fishing has been incredible, with hungry bass hitting lures at every drop. It's time to head in for a good night's sleep in the comfortable rooms at Zammar Hotel in Cedros Town.
It's been a long day, but a good day.
Stay tuned. When we come back, the guys paddle away offshore to find out if the yellowtail are here and biting. Ocean Kayak's Kayak Fishing Show is brought to you in part by Scotty, Standard Horizon, Maui Jim, and Hook One Kayak Fishing Gear.
But it's actually brought to you by these sponsors scrolling across the bottom now. And make sure if you have any questions or anything, if you want any information on Cedros Outdoor Adventures, shoot them my way.
Ocean
and
Kayaks Kayak
about the
Fishing
general
Show is
fishery.
brought to you
Always
in
happy to
part by
answer any of your
Ex Officio
questions.
and their new Soul Cool collection of shirts made with ice fill technology, which actually dissipates heat and provides a cooling effect. Check them out at exofficio.com. It's 5 a.m. The guys have hit the Calico Bass hard yesterday, so today they plan to head offshore a ways to see if they can find the Yellowtail.
Here we go again. Oh, I got a bad case of bass thumb. Basically, it looks like a bloody stump because I caught so many bass yesterday and they just tore it up. Their teeth are a little bit bigger down here. You know, they got these little teeth, but for some reason, it's like they've never been caught here. It's crazy. It's like,
Yeah, calico bass will tear up your thumb. Like you said, you're after a week of fishing down there, or even a few days, or even on one day, depending how good it is, your thumb is torn up. They do have small teeth, but they're sharp little guys, and you generally lip the fish because other ways of grabbing them, their dorsal spines are like needles. They're very hard and sharp. The back of their gill plate has a couple of spikes on it. And then like midpoint on their gill plate is a curved area that's like a serrated knife. So if you just grab the fish, in your hand, it'll flare its gill plates and it'll cut your hand that way. So it's usually best just to lip them. But you just got to make sure you get your thumb in there far enough and make sure your knuckle is raised over the teeth. But invariably they shake and everything. And like I said, good bass fishing means a torn up thumb. But it's a good problem to have.
shooting trout in a barrel. It's awesome.
Got on a spot of birds, dropped down a couple of irons, and didn't take long. And Maddie got hooked up. And that's a fishing yo-yo iron, so the deep iron, drop it down deep and grind it up fast. They're tough fish, and they're nice size fish, and so usually takes a little bit to get them.
Those guys are way over there. I'm gonna come over here and catch the yellowtail. Yellow!
Oh man. Got up on a spot of birds. We all dropped down. We had triple hookups on nice yellows, multiple triple hookups. I got one fish sitting under my leg here, another one on.
Yes, we killed some fish on this trip because yellowtail are delicious.
Not as big as the first one I caught, but not horrible.
Yellow!
I called my shot. These guys wanted to go in. I said, no, there's a fish right here.
I saw color when I got hooked up. This thing was right at the surface.
Yellowtail Cedros. We're using these Andros reels. They're a 6.2 to 1, high speed, so you can really get that lure moving. But it's also a 2-speed reel, so if you need to, you can really put the hurt on them and start grinding them up.
Nice. Through my time.
Yeah, if you haven't caught yellowtail, they are super tough. They are delicious. They are a jack, but unlike a lot of jacks, they are very, very good eating. Actually, my buddy brought some over today, and I'm going to have some for dinner tonight.
So the guys paddle their way back to shore for another strike at the Calico Bass.
I've been able to watch him hit it. And like I said, it may not be every cast, but it's been, oh, there we go. It's been almost every cast. Oh, he took it into the weed. Oh, he came out. Oh.
My one, I caught a bass. There it is, proof.
End of day 2, and they have a few yellowtail. Locals quickly clean the fish and get it on ice so the guys can bring it home to the family.
We've been targeting calico bass in heavy structure here at Cedros Island, so that's what we're going to talk about this week. Generally speaking, when I'm fishing calico bass at home, I'll fish 50-pound braid and then put on 20-pound fluorocarbon or 30-pound fluorocarbon. But here we're fishing really heavy structure. We're fishing pretty shallow, and these fish are not line shy in the least. So when you have fish that are just willing to bite and you're trying to make sure you land them rather than get them broken off, you can go ahead and fish straight braid. I'm fishing straight 60-pound cans and cigar braid, and it's just going straight to the lure. I was using a suspending lure, so I could fish that two feet of water, and it's just fishing maybe this far below the surface and bringing it over the top of these things. And I could make sure when that fish hit that I had the power to just pull that fish and keep it out of the rocks. You may think that 60-pound straight tied braid is a little bit much for these fish, but these fish are tough and they run into the rocks, and I did get broken off several times, even on 60-pound. So don't be afraid to fish the straight 60-pound braid. Until next time, I'm Jim Salmons, and that's your kayak fishing tip of the week.
The kayak fishing tip of the week was brought to you by Ocean Kayak. Check out their complete line of kayaks at oceankayak.com. When we come back, there's one day left with Cedros Outdoor Adventures, and the guys plan to make the most of it.
There you go. That's a nice calico bass.
Jess says a kayak fishing trip to Costa Rica is a bucket list trip. Costa Rica is awesome. I've been there quite a few times. Costa Rica, Panama, they're both just
Ocean Kayak's
great.
Kayak Fishing Show is
You
brought
can't
to you
go
in
wrong
part
with
by
either one.
Okuma Fishing Tackle. It's your day. Make the most of it with Okuma Fishing Tackle. Inspiring design meets stunning performance. Check out Okuma's full line of rods, reels, and fishing accessories at okumafishing.com. This week, Jim is hooked up with Jose Angel Sanchez Pachenko with Cedros Outdoor Adventures for an amazing 3-day trip at Cedros Island. Today is the last day on the water, and the guys plan to make the most of it. The offshore winds have allowed them to hitch a ride to the far side of the island, where no one but the seals ever get a chance to fish.
He just sitting there wondering about what he's gonna do when the bell rings at 3 o'clock and he gets out from school. The teacher says, listen up, children, if you're wondering about the lesson,
Look at that thing.
you ought to know by now just what to do if you got a question.
Oh, yeah.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand.
That's a nice calico bass.
Raise your hands. Raise your hands. Raise your hands.
So catch and release 100% on the calicos. They're actually not bad eating. Some people keep them for fish tacos and that sort of thing. But those of us that really like to fish them always practice catch and release on the calicos. They're a pretty slow growing fish. The legal size is 14 inches, and a legal calico is anywhere from 6 to 9 years old, just to be 14 inches. So when you start getting these bigger ones, like that one I just released, and when, the kind of holy grail is to get a 10-pounder, you're talking, fish that are 30 plus years old. So if you want to catch those big ones, you got to let them grow. So again, we highly encourage catch and release on the calico bass.
That was a good fish. That was one of my best ones of the trip so far.
Where they talk about the wrath of God, and how the devil's always on the loose. And if you're good, you go to heaven, where everything's always fine and well.
Well, we've had a great trip here at Cedros Island with Cedros Outdoor Adventures. Jose puts together a really awesome package, and I mean, every detail is arranged for you, so it's just such a simple trip. And man, we just whack fish down here. I mean, the Calico Bass fishing, and I love Calico Bass fishing, is as good as it gets.
If you want a chance at just Calico Bass fishing like you've never seen, and incredible yellowtail fishing, call Jose at Cedros Outdoor Adventures. He's going to get you on fish. There's a bite. There you go. Yeah. Oh, that feels like another decent one. Oh yeah, that's a nice calico. That's a decent fish. Oh geez, my thumbs, my hands have gotten stabbed. There's a lot of pointy, pokey spots on a calico bass.
The sun is setting and it's time to head in, but it's almost impossible to get the guys off the water.
Yeah, it was an epic trip, and fishing with my two good friends was just awesome.
My Akuma Andros 5 2-speed. The Andros may be small, but it's a powerhouse, and because of its size, it may be the perfect kayak trolling or jigging reel. With a high-speed gear ratio of 6.4 to 1, it's great for high-speed jigging, and when the fish go deep, the 3.8 to 1 gear ratio allows you to keep on cranking. With 24 pounds of drag at full, you can really put the pressure on. The Andros is designed with a low-profile reel foot that makes it very comfortable to have in your hand all day, and has large diameter spool to hold 400 yards of 50-pound braid. Kayak fishing is really hard on your gear, but the Andros is built to take it with only the best quality materials. The single screw teardown makes it a breeze to maintain. If you want to get more information on the Andros or any of the great Akuma products, visit akumafishing.com.
And so with that, another season comes to an end for Jim and his crew, but plans are already being made for next year.
This is our final shoot of season 3. And what a great season it's been. I mean, I can't even think of all the places we've been. Panama, Costa Rica, Canada, Mexico, East Cape. Man, what a great season. What a great time we've had. I hope everybody enjoyed the show this year, and we've got some great shoots lined up for next year too. So we're just going to keep at it, keep having fun, keep kayaking.
Say goodbye, Jim.
Goodbye, Jim.
Are you the guide? Are you the guide? That's Jim Salmons. Oh my God. Oh my God, I want your autograph. Can I have your autograph? Oh my God, it's Jim Salmons. I can't believe it.
I totally forgot about this. I totally forgot about that. Matt is one of my very best friends, and we have a lot of fun. So let me close that. Again, that was the last episode of season 3. Kind of winding down to what I've actually going to be airing here. I think I got a couple seasons left in the old stuff, and then 1 season left of the newer stuff. So, but we'll hopefully get back to shooting and doing some newer stuff soon. So, like I said, this is the last live show for a couple of weeks because I will be at ICAST, but I'll be posting from ICAST, hopefully. Last year, for whatever reason, I tried to do some live stuff from ICAST last year, and it just didn't work. So hopefully the situation is better this time, and I can do some live stuff, product reviews, that sort of thing. So I stay tuned, stay on the site, and I'll be tossing up stuff as I see it. And if you have any questions, if there's anything you think I should see at ICAST, let me know and I'll go check it out. So until next time, if you are going out on the water, please remember, always wear your PFD and keep your paddle right side up. Y'all take care.